morning and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is Harry Brelsford from SMB Nation with the traditional weekly webinar. A couple of housekeeping notes up front. Be sure to use the chat feature to ask your questions, and we'll get to those just as quick as we can. This is the weekly webinar series, so it's 10 a.m. on the West Coast, 1 p.m. on the East Coast, and early evening, late afternoon over in Europe. So thanks for joining us as always, taking time out of your day. We'll get going on the topic in just a moment. So we have a couple of updates. We have next Thursday, a week from now, Jenny, Grant, and Melanie, as well as Brooke, will be out in Washington, D.C. for the popular Office 365 one-day tour. So that's complimentary. You can go to o365nation.com and click on events and learn more about that. Then we have a online worldwide Get Connected conference in early August. Some of you are going to realize that's a change from early June, and that's true for one very simple reason, that we want Win 10 to be released in July. We want to get through WPC. So we want to kind of hit a couple of milestones before we have the Get Connected conference. Also, part and parcel to that, we'll know a lot more about Office 2016. So that's the Get Connected event. And again, you can find that over at o365nation.com. And then also on that page, you'll see information concerning the fall event. And with the fall event, we're October 1 through 3 out here in Redmond, already building a lot of momentum for that. Great time of year in Seattle. And we really do have Indian summers, so that's going to be fantastic. And I think that's essentially it for this week's announcements. With that said, we continue our journey on the popular Office 365 highway, and today we're talking about layering applications on top of the Office 365 platform, and we have our good friends over at Attached Apps back with Dave Waldrop. So, Dave, are you out there in Radio Land? Are you ready to get going?
Hi, Harry. Yes, I am.
Hey, all right. Well, let's do it. So, using apps to generate more revenue from Office 365. Let's do it.
Thanks, Harry, and I appreciate everybody dropping in for the webinar. Apologies up front. I'm on the tail end of a pretty nasty cold, so if you hear me sniffling or coughing, please bear with me. I'll try to mute myself when I feel one coming on, but the nature of this beast is that I can't always predict, so apologies for that. So yeah, as Harry said, I'm president of a company called Attached Apps, and I'll describe a little bit later on what we do. A little bit of background on me, though. Prior to joining Attached Apps, I spent about 18 years at Microsoft and worked through a variety of different roles. Was part of the team that, down in Houston, when the channel program was just getting started. I actually started what has now become Worldwide Partner Conference. I ran the first version of that. Was part of the team that built the first Microsoft Partner Program. Quite frankly, we moved up to Redmond and built the MPM program. Started out with 9,000 partners, and now it's well over hundreds of thousands of partners. So got a great affinity for the channel itself. Also specialized in small businesses. So SMB is my kind of my core passion for from a customer standpoint. Was part of the team that piloted this radical concept of selling software on a rental basis, in particular Office, and so we was part of a team that piloted that concept, which today is now Office 365, and so there was 5 of us that kind of went out on a limb and tried it out. So got a lot of experience watching Office 365 grow from the first version of it was called MSN Small Business, believe it or not. And it was also part of the team that helped start Microsoft CRM products, back in the day, right after the acquisition of Great Plains. And so, very familiar with Microsoft, moving around the company every couple of years. Got to know Harry very well because he was a big player in the SMB space. And so, did that for about 18 years and decided to go do something else, try the startup world, ISV world. And so, that's how I came to be on the webinar today and talking to you about something that I'm very passionate about, the app side of it in Office 365, and then I'll give you some background or some highlights, I guess, over how Attached Apps is taking advantage of this wave. So with that, we'll sort of jump in. And so, over the course of my career, working with SMBs, sort of seeing here in the last, say, several years that the SMB market is really starting to change in terms of how they consume IT. Hardware, software, typically, SMBs are a little laggard. They're not really known for going out and taking a lot of risk or moving too quickly to new technologies. But there's this major transformation that's going on now with the SMB market, and that is the advent of cloud. Cloud is really, really, really appealing to SMBs. It really addresses a lot of their core needs, their wishes in terms of consuming products. They get better cash flow because they can buy it on a rental basis, lower upfront cost, obviously, less time and resources, and much more flexibility. So, cloud is really starting to speak to the SMB market. In fact, a lot of analysts will tell you that SMBs are moving to the cloud even faster now than, say, enterprise companies. And so, it's encouraging to see because there is a lot that the cloud has to offer for SMBs, and it's encouraging to see that SMBs, because of the advent of cloud, are able to keep up with the trends in IT. Office 365, if you're not aware, I'm sure Harry's probably told you quite a few times, it is selling like crazy. My former team members back at Microsoft tell me they just can't forecast it's selling so fast. And again, SMBs are sort of leading the charge. It's a proven product. Customers understand it. It's the fastest selling product in Microsoft history. You've probably heard that in the press, and that's not a small statement. I mean, you think about products like Windows 95 and Windows 98, and this 365 is really changing the nature of the IT world, and certainly leading the charge for Microsoft. So this transformation going on, and 365 being so dominant, that to me means there's a lot of opportunity for partners. When you've got this amount of disruption and change going on, when you've got a big audience of customers, 20 plus million in the U.S. alone, customers making this transformation, there's a big revenue opportunity for partners, and that's what gets me excited about the fact that for the first time there's this really nascent opportunity, and we're really at the beginning of the curve, I think, Harry. We're starting to see this trend going on, and we're going to see it accelerate over I'd say over the next few years.
Yeah, and Dave, I might add, it's a comment to the audience listening, but guys, I will not rest a single day or give up for a single moment until you guys get fired up about making more money. I mean, I understand a lot of us, Dave, came from I was describing it just the other day on a phone call, but God bless us, but we somehow turned our tinkering into a profession, and that's great because we're doing what we love. But here's the challenge: is that we need to really stretch and develop our business acumen and get excited about making money. And Dave, I'm not going to give up because, guys, every week we're trying to give you money.
No, it's a worthy cause. I mean, I'm rooting for you to stick to your guns, because Office 365, cloud transformation, this whole new economy of IT is proving to be very, very lucrative for the partners that are making that transition. And I used to be a partner prior to Microsoft. I was a partner, and selling computers and Novell NetWear and Lotus Notes down in Houston. And so, I've seen a massive transformation, in my own personal experience. So, but yeah, to me, there's more opportunity to make money for partners now than there ever has been, and that's my honest opinion. So, with that, when you think about Office 365, it started out as a product. And a lot of customers today, and even partners today, they look at it and go, oh, it's Word, it's Excel, it's all these products, et cetera, together. And that's true. I mean, that's how Office 365 has been positioned. It's a product that has a lot of different functionalities that you can buy. But historically, it's just that. At Microsoft, we sort of put it in a box. It had a SKU. But even though it has historically been looked at as a product, there's still been a lot of services opportunity for partners. Things like migration. Using things like BitTitan and Skykick for migration and moving customers from their legacy systems certainly technical support, that hasn't gone away, even though 365 is a cloud-hosted product. There's, customers still need support, and a lot of customers, they're doing, want their partners to do remote administration. And so even though in this old paradigm of, it's a product that's just happens to be hosted on, in the cloud, there's still been a lot of services opportunities for partners around it. Nowadays, though, if you listen to Microsoft, you're starting to hear them change the nature of how they talk about Office 365, and I'll show you a quote here in a minute. But over the last, especially 2 weeks, publicly, Microsoft has started talking about Office 365 as a platform, not just necessarily as a product, right? And what that says is that Microsoft recognizes that 365, while it's a great product, it's got a lot of good functionality, there's more that could be added to it. There are some missing holes, if you will, or additional functionality or additional value that can be added to it. And they're talking about it in the context of apps. And so you're starting to hear this dialogue start up around apps on 365. And when you think about it, okay, what is Office 365 missing, or what could you add to Office 365 in the context of an app? Things like productivity, collaboration, financial, verticals. I mean, the possibilities are endless when you start thinking about 365 not as a product itself, but as a platform that you can build onto. And the app model makes it much, much easier. And so there's this whole change of dialogue going on in the industry around, how 365 is being perceived. And it's a good thing because it means, again, good opportunities for partners like yourselves and quite honestly like us.
Yep. Yeah, and Dave, I might add, folks, a little bit later today, Caitlin will post up a blog on Harmony. And so we know the word harmony. This is slightly different, harmon.ie, pronounced harmony. They just announced a partner program over at the Dave, the Ignite conference in Chicago. I mean, it seems like everybody's out at Ignite. I didn't realize that's a big conference.
Yeah, I got my invite, but I didn't make the trip. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, everybody's there. They're having fun for us. But in any event, Harmony announced a partner program. Harmony, let me get to the point. Look at the lower right. And you have SharePoint, and then the lower left you have OneDrive. And what Harmony is kind of like a brother from another mother for attached apps. Now they're not related technically, but it's the same paradigm. Harmony is a solution, a snap-in that sits on top of Office 365 and kind of helps you better manage SharePoint, your data stores, from a friendly interface. And then attached apps. And Dave, I'd offer you guys got in really early in helping define the paradigm, but you're sitting on top of the Office 365 platform, providing, how do I want to put, you're kind of a gap filler.
That's right.
That doesn't sound quite right, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's right. And that's a good point. So, a lot of people, when I talk to them about this apps, they say, well, what do you mean, what is an app? If you're a consumer with a phone, a smartphone, you kind of know what apps are, right? You kind of got used to that experience. And so, the concept of, apps for consumers is now migrating into the IT space. It's called the consumerization of IT. I'm sure you've heard that phrase many times before. But, it's, and quite honestly, Microsoft actually was a pioneer in that back with Windows 95. Windows 95, that's when I joined the company, was originally conceived as a consumer-oriented product. And that's how we launched it. And then, the users came to work and said, hey, I've got this great experience at home. Why can't I have it on my work device? And so, even though, Microsoft is, tend to be thought of as sort of laggard in a lot of ways, they were really at the forefront of consumerization of IT. Nowadays, that trend is just absolutely accelerating. It's just, more and more, the users are coming in and saying, look, I've got this great experience here. Why can't I have that at work? And so you're starting to see a lot of companies sort of adapt to it. And the app model is really, feeds right into that. It really kind of, supports that concept of, take a simple function, make it available to the user. And so, when I try to describe apps, I tend to, tell people, it's like, okay, what are the characteristics of an app? Well, first, they need to be simple and modular. And there's this new vernacular around apps called provisioning versus installation. And I'll talk about this with attached apps. But when you decide to use one of our apps, and this should be true for most apps, is you don't really install it on the client because they're hosted on the internet in the cloud. And so they're simple. You pick and choose just the function you need. versus having to buy the whole software suite. Again, that's to me what differentiates an app from software is you're using the functions. You're not having to buy the whole package. Of course, they're cloud hosted. Azure's my favorite cloud hosting product, but and a lot of and they're accessible for any modern browser. So true apps are ones that again run across the browser in like HTML5 or similar sort of language. And they run on lower power devices or pretty much any device, and from any device that's running any modern browser. And so when you think about an app, you should be thinking about it in the context of this doesn't just run on this PC, it will run on tablets, it will run on mobile devices, it will run on Macs, and so it's really this massive transformation from your piece of software and you had to look and see, is it compatible with the operating system and the processors that I'm running? You no longer need that. You no longer have to care so much about high-powered, lots of RAM, lots of hard drive storage, lots of CPU space, because the app model really sort of takes that need away.
Dave, I wanted to add a war story that I got my geek on a couple Sundays ago. And I guess I was feeling a little bit chippy because I got my head into the Chrome operating system. So learned all about that. I understand your OEMs like Lenovo and some others sell Chromebooks that are kind of the official version, but then there's like a Chrome vanilla or something, and you can put it on a USB stick and boot from your USB. So I did. I took an old HP netbook, put in the USB key, booted up into Chrome. Great reuse of an older, tired laptop netbook PC with a lightweight operating system. And Dave, in rehearsal, I'll tell on myself, but in rehearsal with you, I was glad to hear that you support that. I mean, there's, now in Seattle, I better stop while I'm ahead. I shouldn't be talking this way up in Seattle, but you know where I'm going.
Well,
there's a market for this, man.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really deny it. I mean, it is the way the world is moving, right? I mean, the industry is moving in that direction where, used to be it was processor centric and, device centric. Nowadays, with the advent of cloud-based services and the app sort of model, it's no longer, you no longer need such, that much horsepower to get this, to get the full functionality out of the product. So I mean, that's, I've had a friend of mine was ranting yesterday about her Chromebook, same thing, and she's an ex-Microsoftie as well. So it is what it is. The question for us as industry, participants is, are we going to take advantage of that? How do we capitalize on this change that's going on? So last thing, for apps, when I think about apps, I think, very simply, it's only what you need. It's only when you need it from any device, anywhere, right? This is sort of the shorthand way that I think about, if does a product meet the characteristics of what I consider to be an app? And so, very simply, it is a new paradigm. It's a new way of thinking about things. It is, as Harry said, breaking down products into functions and filling gaps with those functions. And so, that's the way the industry is moving. And so, attached apps, we are apps for Office 365. As Harry said, we're pretty early in the process. We started working on these apps well before Microsoft made even public APIs available for Office 365. Our development team has a good connection back into Microsoft. And so, we've been working on this for a couple of years now. And, it's kind of gratifying to see the rest of the industry is now catching up to us. And so, we've got a good start out in the market. So, talking about, switching gears a little bit now about attached apps and how we're taking advantage of this opportunity. We start out with, addressing the customer's number one pain point, which is attracting, retaining, and managing and growing customers. And so, we decided that, there's some missing functionality in Office 365, and that is the ability to track contacts. The number one contact manager for SMBs is Excel, and the number two contact manager for SMBs is Outlook. So those aren't really good tools for managing contacts. And so even though you get those two products with Office 365, they're not really true contact management products. And so we decided that, there was a good easy gap to fill there. Go out and, add a contact manager product into Office 365 that allows customers to do something that is relatively unique, and that is, you can take a contact from your Outlook address book, decide to share it with other people in your company, and then you can keep that contact in sync, so if somebody makes a change to it. And so that's sort of unique functionality even within a lot of the CRM products that are out in the market. So, we decided to not only just come in and, have a contact manager, but come in and have provide a contact manager that does something more than just contact management, that what people think of as contact management. And then further, we allow you to track email. So within the contact record, you can choose to see all the email that's gone across the Office 365 mail server within that contact record. So, instead of just coming out and saying, hey, simple contacts, we said, let's come up with contacts, but also let's add some value to it. So we start convincing these customers that are not using a True Contact Manager, convince them to move over into a True Contact Management product, an app. And we decided furthermore to give it away. So, our contacts app is free. This allows, again, going back to that app model, it's the function of managing contacts and tracking those contacts. It's free. You can use it as much as you want. It runs across any device anywhere, so really filling in that gap, but also taking advantage of the app-like model. From there, we have what we call Contacts Plus, which is a $3 per month product. It allows things like follow-up, so you now start getting into some CRM-like functionality and some more admin. And then we have other products like one called Sales, which is simple sales pipeline management. And then we have Customers, which is simple customer service management. Now, these apps, they're add-on apps on top of Contacts Plus, but you can buy them only for the people you need to buy them for and only when you need to buy them. So again, going back to that app-like model, if you have 3 salespeople and 4 customer service people, you just have to buy 3 of the sales and 4 of the customer service. If you need to ramp up, say for the holidays, you can add licenses and take them back down again. And so again, really snapping into that app-like paradigm with our apps. So, all together, you're looking at a relatively inexpensive offering that gives you, fairly robust functionality that attaches very cleanly to Office 365. Again, it addresses that number one pain point for the customer. It attaches very, very simply to 365, and furthermore, we have a very partner-centric model. Going back to my history of helping build the partner program, I'm very much attuned to the benefit that partners like yourselves offer to the SMB customers. So, and we'll talk about a little bit that down the road.
Well, Dave, I'll tell you, and I know it's a different realm, but I think the conversation fits that having kind of gone through the whole ERP motion and the CRM motion, and again, I appreciate we're having a different conversation, but this pricing that you have, buy what you need when you need it, that kind of thing, is a very different from experiences I've had, quite frankly, with NetSuite over in the ERP realm. And boy, howdy, they never met a professional license they didn't like, and you're kind of locked into buying these professional licenses for quite frankly some callers.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's one of the ironies of these, even companies that are quote-unquote born in the cloud, like NetSuite and Salesforce.com, even though their products, they're cloud-hosted products from the get-go, a lot of their licenses are still, based on the legacy software model. Again, so, we look at that and said, there's a better way, especially for these smaller businesses. They're not used, they hate buying stuff that they don't use. They hate paying for things that they're not using. They hate getting locked into long-term contracts. And so, when we decided to launch Attached Apps, we said let's not only address the needs of the SMBs from the software standpoint, but also from the purchasing standpoint. Let them buy it the way they want to buy it, and not lock them into something. And so, it's a radical shift. Quite frankly, we're, like you said, we're bleeding edge on a lot of this stuff, coming into the market. But it is the way the market is going. And in fact, even over the last couple of weeks, I've seen other companies kind of snap to the fact that, hey, there's this big app opportunity out there. So, a good thing for us, we've got a bit of a head start on them. So, jumping in, I'm not going to tempt fate by trying to do a live demo. So I thought I'd just give you some screenshots of how the apps themselves work. I'll tell you at the end of the session how to use it yourself. But this is our dashboard. So when somebody logs in, they come into the apps themselves. They log in. This is a customer that is obviously using all the products. They're using Contacts Plus and Sales and Customers. And what you notice is it's a very clean, simple interface. And clean and simple is sort of our mantra for how we want the apps to look. We don't want it to be intimidating to the customer. We want them to very quickly at a glance see what the next steps are for the particular contacts, very easy to navigate around. Same thing on this is our Contacts app. So when you open it up, It's a nice, clean, simple interface. You can see there's very few buttons across the top. Another thing you'll notice is this looks a lot like a spreadsheet. Well, that's by design, because remember, the number one contact manager for SMBs is Excel. So, we're trying to convince the customers to drop Excel or drop Outlook, come into a true contact manager product, and so we want to try to, give them a familiar experience. I mean, it's not a true spreadsheet, obviously, but, the look and feel is, the lines like in the spreadsheet. Mention, that Microsoft is making this transition, and this is a quote that Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, he made this last week at the Build conference. And, when I saw the quote, I thought that is really speaking to, what we're trying to do with attached apps. That is apps that show up in Office so that they do more than any single application on their own. And so, he's sort of touting this as not only 365 as a platform, but promoting that folks should go out and find apps or build apps that show up through Office. And as it so happens, we already do that. So this is a two screenshots. On the left, you see this is an Outlook email that came in from a lady named Vanessa Stevens. You can see there under that arrow that there's a button that automatically shows up called Attach Contacts. So within Outlook itself, we have a button, a link that shows up. When you click on that link, you get the right-hand screen, which allows you to go in and see, is Vanessa in my attached apps company database? If not, you can add her to that database staying within Outlook. So this is the example of, Satya saying, showing up in Office. Well, our apps do that out of the gate. We have this capability built in. Now we're building additional functionality right now. That link, we're really just adding contacts or seeing somebody's in the contact database. Down the road, we're going to be adding even more functionality to those buttons, where you can do things like enter sales activities and follow up and such. But it was kind of cool to hear Satya articulate last week something that we've been working on again for a couple of years. Sort of validation that this is the way that Microsoft is thinking about heading with their partners and their products. And by the way, being an ex-Microsoft, I can tell you, getting real estate on what's called the ribbon is a big deal at Microsoft. Giving up some of that real estate to third parties like ourselves is a non-trivial decision. It's been sort of sacred ground for the company for a very, very long time. And so, it's good to see Microsoft recognizing the role that, ISVs like ourselves have in adding value to their products and then giving us real estate on that ribbon. And so hopefully they'll continue that trend and, be up to us to make sure we add enough value without abusing the right.
Hey, Dave, let me do a little bit of housekeeping, if you don't mind. It's roughly 10:30 Pacific. We're at midpoint on today's webinar, so it's at its core, it's an Office 365 conversation, and specifically layering applications like attached apps on top of it. So be sure to use the chat feature to ask the questions that you have. I peeked over and I saw that the blog I promised you earlier has now been posted over at o365nation.com. Don't read it now. Don't read it now, but a little bit later on, feel free. That's a follow-up to some comments I made about application layering. But folks, be sure to use your chat feature. Dave, let's continue, sir.
Thanks, Harry. So when we think about the customers that these sorts of apps are good for, attached apps especially, we think about them as companies that have 1 to 50 employees. Now the apps will scale up. They'll scale up to thousands of users. But we're really looking at those companies that are being underserved today in the market with like traditional CRM products. And so 1 to 50 is sort of our sweet spot. We've got clients again with a lot more than that. So, but that's where we start. And they're using Exchange and Outlook, including obviously Office 365. Our products only work against Exchange mail servers today. Our products will run standalone, but they're just not that functional. But so you're really looking for customers that are using Exchange, ideally Office 365 version of Exchange. We do run against some versions of hosted Exchange with some setting changes, but the real opportunity, of course, is 365 because it is really dominating the market. Again, if they've been using Outlook or Excel to manage their contacts, they're prime audiences for this. That's why we've made our Contacts app free and so simple, is to get those customers that are away from this good enough sort of scenario of using Excel and Outlook to manage their contacts. Another interesting customer target is customers that are using Microsoft Business Contact Manager. It's a product that I know well. I was product marketing manager for it, and Microsoft discontinued it. It was our response at Microsoft when we developed Microsoft CRM. We realized it was too sophisticated for the smaller businesses, and so we came up with Business Contact Manager. For whatever reason, the product was discontinued, but there's a lot of customers out there still using it and still trying to use it. And so, if you know of customers that are on BCM, attachedapps is a great port over for them. It's a great way for them to move over and get into the cloud and have true contact manager. Again, if a customer doesn't want or need a full CRM product like say Salesforce.com, most SMBs that I talk to, when I talk to them about CRM, even when I was at Microsoft and we were trying to develop a CRM product, they would say, I don't understand it. It's too complicated. I don't want to change the way I work. I can't afford the downtime that I'm going to have to spend. It's just not a good product. And so, even Salesforce.com and those other companies, they recognize that. And so, they're sort of moving up market. And so, if a customer just says, I'm not right for CRM or I'm not ready for CRM, great. This is a nice, step into the CRM world without going full CRM. Of course, if a customer's migrating to the cloud, we're a true cloud-based app. This is a great add-on for them and new businesses. Companies that are just getting started. If you can catch them early and say, hey, look, track your contacts here. Walk them through the sales process. Get them used to using a true contact manager, sales tracking, customer service app from the beginning. Then you don't have to migrate them over, down the road.
Yeah, that last point's actually pretty interesting, Dave, because it calls into question in a kind way, but it calls into question kind of what is the Office 365 market today. So you have existing Office 365 users who are by and large pretty happy. I mean, I got to tell you, it's got high favorable ratings. So we'll put that over on the left hand. So that would be kind of one sales motion to go into an existing customer, and Dave, maybe they're starting to wonder, well, can they do more? Can they do this? Can they do that? And then your last point, the new customer, that's almost a slightly different motion. Then it's almost like I would offer you attach it to the sale of Office 365. So new customer, let's throw it in on day 0. Different motion, different conversation. Does that make sense? It's kind of like there's different tactics.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and then the good news is Office 365 is growing net new.
Yeah, it's and that's a great point. When you're thinking about it in the sales motion, like Harry said, our intent with attached contacts is that it is easy for you to attach to every Office 365 user. And quite frankly, that's our call to action is, every customer could use this. We even have customers that are using us alongside CRM products, using attached contacts alongside CRM products. And so, the idea here is to make it easy for the customers to adopt our apps, but also for our partners to attach it to every Office 365 installation. If you're going into new installation, new business, they're just getting started, certainly Office 365 is a great start for them, and then, adding our apps on top of that makes it's a lot easier to add our apps on top of that. So
yeah, and Dave, what I would add, I mean, I'm just thinking of because I'm small business owner, entrepreneur, I'm this, I'm that, but I have logons today to Dynamics CRM, Salesforce.com, and then your attached apps. I'm a daily user of your attached apps, and there's reasons why I have those different tools available. But to your point, attached apps is got a seat at the table.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, and that's not unusual. It was a little unexpected before we launched the apps, but now that we see what our apps are able to do versus say what a Salesforce.com could do, then it starts to make sense. I mean, this sharing contacts and keeping them in sync across the company, that's pretty unique. So there's opportunity. In fact, some of our partners have asked about taking our apps and integrating them with, say, Dynamics CRM or Salesforce.com. And we have a full REST API, and so our response to those partners that want to do that is great. Let us work with you to do that, and then we'll help you promote that connection if you want to build those. So we have partners that are working on that as well. So it's fun to see. It's fun to see the market give us information that they wouldn't expect coming in, like the fact that that you can run us alongside CRM products. So What do you get out of this? And so, pretty straightforward referral fee model. If you want to send the customers to us and we bill the customers, we'll pay you referral fees, 20% of what we get from the customer for the first year and 10% for every year thereafter with no limit. If you prefer to build a customer for our apps, you can do that. You can build a customer and we'll bill you again at 20 and 10 off. So, giving you that flexibility, and this is sort of the learning I got from the Office 365 launch, where when we launched it, it was referral only, and partners tended to complain that they wanted to have control of the customer's billing, and so we decided at launch, allow partners that flexibility. We have a partner locator. If you go up to our website now under support, you'll see find a partner. All of our messaging to customers is all about use a partner. We really aren't doing any direct customer marketing, direct to customer marketing. If a customer comes in direct, we're really going to strongly recommend that they go find one of our partners. So we've already started, seeing that happen. We've got customers coming in, and we're sending off to partners, and they're being very happy. And then as a partner, you get free use of all of our apps. One of the most common reactions whenever I'm in front of a crowd of partners is, well, I need this internally in my own company. And so, we decided, great, give our apps to all of our partners so they can use it themselves. So not only you can use it, obviously, to get familiar with it, but you can use it to run your own business. And we have several partners that are doing just that. They're taking our apps and they're managing their contacts and they're tracking their sales and they're using customer service. Some partners are using products like ConnectWise or Autotask. They're looking at those CRM modules and saying, yeah, it's a little too much for me, a little too complicated, and so they're sort of augmenting, even ConnectWise and Autotask with our apps. And so, it's free, no strings attached, as long as you're one of our registered partners. The apps are yours to use.
Hey, Dave, we got some questions, if now is as good a time as any. So let's see, Ashok is asking, is there an add-in for Outlook installed locally? So local Outlook snap-in add-in.
Yeah, so that link I showed you works for both OA and on-prem Outlook. So the link that I showed you on that previous screen, that works on both the installed version on your desktop and in Outlook Web Access. In fact, I think that screen capture came from on-prem Outlook.
Okay. We have Brian asking, are these apps only available as a desktop app add-ons, or will they be available for Android, iPhone? I couldn't find, excuse me, Dave, I got to scroll down. I couldn't find the contact apps in Google Play. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, we're in Google Play now. So you should be able to go out and do a search on attached apps. We've submitted to Apple for iOS. We have our iOS app done. We're just waiting for Apple to approve it so that it shows up in the Apple Store. But you should be able to see it in Google Play now. We've got users already using it on Android devices.
Okay, and we have a gentleman named Pat asking, Dave, what features does your contact manager offer that enables me to better protect the security of my lead customer contact, got to scroll down, information from employees who leave or are terminated? That's a valid question.
Yeah, that's a good question, and it does come up from time to time, and it's a little more of an advanced feature. But one of the things that customers, when we talk to them, they worry that, well, my employee leaves and he takes his Excel spreadsheet with all the contacts with him in him, or he has his personal machine with his Outlook address book on it, and that employee leaves, or say an employee decides to leave and they go in and do something nefarious like go in and delete all the contacts from the company's database. So by putting in a policy that says to the employees, take your Outlook address book and or your Excel spreadsheet list of contacts and contribute them to this central database, those contacts now become the property of the company. They're now hosted on in our database on an Azure server, and they become basically the IP of the company. And so that gives the small business owner confidence that no matter what happens with their employees, they're not going to lose this very, very valuable asset of their contacts. And so some of our partners they use this as sort of a selling point, going into the clients and saying, look, one of your most valuable assets, your list of customers, is at risk because the contacts list are distributed around your company, and so by implementing our free contacts app, you solve that problem right away, and it takes about 5 minutes to take those contacts and contribute it from the database. And now the company has full control. We have backup and restore capability, so if somebody does go in and delete, we've got functionality that shows you who last modified a contact record. And so, it solves a problem that a lot of small businesses, they may not say it up front, but if you talk to them enough, they'll kind of come around to, well, what happens if this guy leaves and I lose those customers? And so we solve that right away with our free contacts app. Good question, Pat.
Yep, no, it is. Common scenario. Hold on. Got another. Folks, keep them coming. Here we go. Looks like a gentleman named Ian. Can a UK firm become a partner because the website partner sign-up does not have UK? Fair question, Dave.
Yeah. We initially planned to launch this in North America only, and so it's in US English. Very quickly, we had partners in Australia. We have quite a few partners in Australia now that stepped up and said, we don't care about US English, we'll still sell it. Fix the date thing, and so we just implemented the date change. And so the answer is, for you, those of you in the UK, I think we already have another partner in the UK, in fact, already. If your customers are okay with US English and US dollars, then yes, you can become a partner today and start selling it right away. We've solved the date issue, so you can pick the date format. We will be porting to non-US English over time, and so that's on our short list because we're getting a lot of interest outside the US or outside of North America. So short answer, yes. Longer answer is but with an asterisk, it'll be US English, US dollars for the next few months.
Okay, great. And Dave, forgive me, I had to switch over to speaker on my beloved Cisco 525 SPA phone. My headset's wearing out, darn it. Folks, looks like we may have cleared the deck on questions. Dave, why don't we continue if you have other commentary, and then we'll pick it back up.
Yeah, so the referral fees are all nice, right? 20%, 10%, that's nice. But we know that where you really make your money as a partner is services add-ons. And we've designed our apps to be very, very partner services friendly. In fact, even our free app, we have partners that are billing services even for the free app. And so things like remote admin and admin, field customization. So your client may not call customers may call them clients, and they want to change that field name. A lot of our partners will do that work for them. Migration support. If you've got an Excel spreadsheet, you may need to modify those fields, or if you're coming from another app, we have CSV import export built into the product. So a lot of our partners will go out and help the customers with that migration. I mentioned product integration earlier. That's actually a big deal. A lot of partners are seeing this as an opportunity to say, things like QuickBooks, where contacts are, are in QuickBooks, and then want to integrate our contacts apps with those products. I mean, great services opportunity for partners. Of course, business consulting. Verticalization, we aren't planning to verticalize our apps, but we have partners that are already doing that. So we have some partners that are creating vertical versions of our apps, say for real estate and for legal. So, that's something that we fully support. We really encourage our partners to go out there and find those opportunities to make our apps more applicable to their particular customer set. Co-branding, I'll show you this in a minute, and of course technical support. We want you to be the first line of support for your customers. To help you do that, I'm going to go back to the dashboard a minute, something you may not have seen, but I want to call out to you. One of the things we've done that I've never seen done in any software that I've been exposed to is we've decided to give the partners, real estate in the app itself. And that's what you see in this tile up here, this Contoso tile up here. Once you become a registered partner, you now have the ability to go in and populate that tile with whatever information you want to populate with. You can see there's 3 buttons up there, your address, your contact information, and then any messaging you want to put, and that tile will then just rotate. It gives you the ability to keep your message, your logo, in front of your customers, even though they're using attached apps, right? So in that dashboard, the customers actually see your logo and see your messaging. That gives you the ability to, things like, hey, if you need support, click here, right? And you can put hyperlinks in your tile. So it's one of the things when I landed with attached apps, I was talking to the dev team and said, wouldn't it be cool if we could do something that I've never seen done before, and that is give partners the presence in the product itself. So that's what we've done. And once you become a partner, that tile's there. It's one of the one of the steps you walk through is we kind of nudge you, encourage you to go populate those tiles, so that when your customers launch the apps and see that dashboard, they see in your tile right there alongside it. Okay. Partners love us. These are just some quotes we've gotten over the last few weeks about partners. It's landing very, very well. The partners that are adding it on are saying that it really is adding value to their business, to their customers. It's transforming their business. It gives them additional ways to add value to their customers. And I know a lot of partners like to see case studies, and so here's a partner that I think is a good example. Essential Technologies, they're an MSP. They just started selling Office 365. They're relatively new to the 365 space, and out of the gate, they decided that they were going to attach our contacts to every Office 365 installation. So from day one, first Office 365 installation, they're going to add our attached contacts to it. And in addition, they're now able to bill like $8 per user per month for admin and support for those apps. And so out of the gate, they're attaching something that they can build services around. And one of their first customers is this company called Pure. It's a real estate firm with 15 employees. They were using a real estate specific CRM product and weren't happy with it. Said it was too expensive, it wasn't flexible, they were getting locked into something they didn't really get the use out of. They like the fact that attached contacts enables much easier, simpler, but fully functional contact management, and they like the cost, of course. And this particular company is very impressed with the Exchange Outlook integration that I showed you earlier on, where in Outlook you can click on a button and pull up the contact record, and they like the email tracking function. They like being able to have people dispersed around say the territory or the country, be able to pull up a contact record, and then within that contact record, they love being able to see all those emails that have gone back and forth, so they don't have to then go ask somebody, hey, did you send somebody a follow-up email or whatever. They can see that within the record itself. And so, good case study here where brand new partner to 365 coming in, seeing a lot of value, generating services revenue, and very quickly converting one of their customers. Okay, so from here, how do you get started? Pretty straightforward. attachedapps.com/partners. It'll take you about 5 minutes to sign up. Fill out a short profile form. We'll have a little dialogue back and forth with you. We'll give you a customer URL that you can send out to your customers for them to start provisioning. We'll prompt you to populate your tile with whatever information you want the customers to see. Provision the apps for yourselves. If you want to run it yourself, if you have an Exchange environment, a 365 environment, you can provision them. Our apps are free for you to use forever. If you don't have an environment that you want to run against, we do have a sandbox. So we can give you the credentials, and you can go ahead and use the sandbox environment if you want to play around with the apps, or if you want to use it for demoing to customers. All of our partners today get a partner account manager, and so once you sign up, one of our PAMs will be reaching out to you very quickly, helping make sure you get through the sign-up process, answer all your questions, point you to the vast amount of resources you've got available. We've got like white papers and videos and press kits and everything else that you can use to start promoting the apps out to your customers. And as Harry and I have been saying, start adding attached contacts to every 365 customer. It's an easy add-on. It's an easy way for you to add more value to the customers. It's an easy way for you to start attaching revenue to Office 365, and it's an easy way for you to get into this app-like environment that is now really starting to take off and will be dominating, I think, the market, say, for the next several years.
Cool. Hey, Dave, I gave my headset a quick charge, so I'm back. So we have a couple more questions. Jan over in Holland. He's asking, do you support partners in Europe? And he specifically says the Netherlands in this case.
Yeah, the same qualified answer is right now we're only in U.S. English and U.S. dollars, and so if your customers are okay with U.S. English, U.S. dollars, then the answer is yes. If not, it'll be a few months now before we start localizing into other languages.
Okay. And then we have Pat asking, Dave, the partner tile is a great feature. Will attached apps also have a presence on the app, i.e. marketing additional apps as they come online? That's a good question. So kind of what's your, what do we call that, your pull strategy to sell more stuff?
Yes, yeah, that is a good question. You know, we do have plans to do upsell within the apps themselves, both within the Outlook app or the Outlook add-on, but also within the apps themselves, where we're sort of nudging customers up the value chain. So today, you know, as you saw on the dashboard, it's pretty straightforward, pretty vanilla. But you know, we will be adding functionality in there that allows, you know, that encourages the customers to add additional apps. And so if they're only using contacts, you know, we'll be starting to, you know, upsell them to sales. And again, even though we may upsell them within our apps, if they're your customer, you'll get the revenue opportunity. We'll make sure you're aware of the fact that we're upselling them to other apps.
Yeah, and Dave, what I can say, again, I'm, you know, what was that famous ad? I'm a customer and an owner or something. I forget the shaving. I forget the context back in some football games, but using your product, I can tell you this: when I log on in the morning, frequently I receive some kind of notification from attached apps that you've added additional functionality, additional features, that kind of thing. So
that's right.
Come to welcome that, because and I know you pretty well, and I know you're a lot of your development comes based on feedback from the community. So that's cool. You know, that's cool that you're incorporating that, and then more importantly, letting me know you did.
Yeah, that's another key feature. I mean, that's one of the benefits of, you know, being an app-like model and cloud hosted is we are able to make changes relatively quickly. We push out feature releases and bug fixes weekly. And like Harry has said, you know, we make sure that number one, the partners know that we're pushing those changes out, but also the customers, when they first log in, we'll let them know, hey, we've added this new functionality. You know, one of the best things about that frequency of updates is that we can take feedback from a customer or partner, and in most cases, we can have that feedback incorporated into the product within a matter of weeks. So you can imagine, you know, my background at Microsoft, when we would get a feature request and wait 3 years for it to come at, you know, show up in the product. You know, now we're on a cycle where, you know, it's a matter of weeks, where you know, we can add this functionality, or you know, or if there's the bug, you know, we can fix the bug actually, you know, within days, actually, a lot of times with the bugs. But to be able to do those feature requests and you know, be that responsive to the customers and the partners is very gratifying. It's a lot of fun to do.
Yep, absolutely. So, folks, we got a few minutes left. Ask away on your questions. You now have permission to. We're on screen too if you want to see the blog about a ISV out of Israel that has a very different kind of application. So, sort of a SharePoint management app, for lack of a better word, Harmony. That's been posted, but the point I want you to take away is this is growing into a roar, that people are viewing Office 365 as a platform. On the site, o365nation.com, feel free to search on the term attached apps, and you'll see that they were part of a 3-part series that I did. Dave, I'm going to say that was before the beginning of the year. Good
yeah, it's back in the last fall, yeah.
Yeah.
You were really ahead of the curve, yeah.
So you'll get the context of the 365 platform opportunity from my 3-part series if you search on attached apps. Feel free to click over on events and see Jenny and Melanie and Grant and Brooke next week in Washington, D.C. on Thursday. They'll look forward to seeing you. And let me just double check if we have any more questions. You know, Dave, my wife's school had a charity auction on this past Saturday night. We did, by the way, we did not come home with a young golden retriever puppy. Apparently, these charity auctions, apparently there's a backlash against live animals at those things now. So no puppies, but I did pick up on their language. So were questions going once, questions going twice.
Very nice.
I think we cleared the deck. Dave, why don't you wrap us up, and I'll take us out.
Yeah, so thank you everybody for joining the webinar. I look forward to seeing you in our partner program if you're not there already. If you've got any questions, just shoot me an email directly. I'd love to hear directly from you. If you'd like to have a chat, I love doing that as well. If you're in the Seattle area anytime soon, want to get together face to face. I enjoy spending time with partners and with customers as well. So if you want to get started quickly, go ahead and sign in. One of our partner account managers will help you walk through it. They'll even help you if you want them to. They'll help you with your first couple of sales. They'll help. They'll be on the phone with you to help you with your customers if you need that sort of help. So really trying to be as partner friendly and centric as possible, and really trying to help you guys take advantage of this massive tidal wave that's called cloud adoption in Office 365. So appreciate you signing into the website.
All right, and thank you, Dave. And Dave, thanks for hanging in there. I know you've got the cold that's going. You're a couple days into the cold that's going around. I actually held it off the last couple days. Today it actually got me, so I'm a little wackadoo. But nothing that a bunch of coffee won't solve. But there's something going on out there.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you. I appreciate you digging deep to present today. Folks, that does bring the weekly webinar to a close, so it's time to go back to work. We'll see you next week, and as always, happy computing out there. Keep it safe. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.